And afternoon, folks, I took my nap and took my medication, and I'm feeling a little bit better. Having my afternoon coffee. And this is Uncle Alan's Rants. Van City Prepper, Magic Prepper, Apocalyptic Ben. We're politely discussing the intelligence of, I guess, United States or mankind or whatever. I keep telling people, remember Mountains of the Moon, Phase 8, when everybody goes. Uh, the thing with intelligence is um, people, they do name call, that's part of the brainwashing scheme. But for my instance, and a lot of people think it's a joke, but it isn't. And they make comments and joke back. No, I had this year 2 people shoot off their manhood, and these were bright, intelligent people, except they didn't know what they're doing, and they stuck a loaded gun in their waistband and it went off, and you know what happened next. So I'm wondering, is it stupidity or is it carelessness or it's a combination of both? Because a lot of normal people don't do that. They don't shoot off their wee wee. Okay, this is just my opinion and a rant. What was funny is, like Ben says, remember, folks, I have brain damage and glaucoma. A lot of things wrong with old Uncle Al. But what was funny, early part of the last century, people came to America. America was a melting pot. They had problems and everything else. One of the early tech giants, Henry Ford, was trying to solve a problem. Okay? How to educate people in mass, like assembly line for his cars. Because he's having a problem because one time he walked down on his factory floor and everybody was speaking 18 different languages. And they were getting in fights and they were doing their whatever they've been taught, and nothing got done. So instead of getting like 20 cars a day, he only got 2 or 3. And that's with assembly line. So he got fed up, and he and several other of his friends, all tech giants at the time, Westinghouse, Edison, you name it, go down straight the board. Goodyear, the rubber guys, they all hooked up together, and they're talking how they can improve the education system. Okay, now Henry Ford had good secondary education for his time. Remember, he was the last generation of the 19th century, age of steam power. People still don't get that thing. I'll explain it later. Okay? He wanted a technological jump as well as an educational jump. Okay? Henry Ford was a very smart man, but he was only trained at a certain level in school, secondary. He had primary and secondary, which was good. Unfortunately, he did not have trinary, college level. All right, he's a typical layman at that time, and from a country area, not a city area, country area. So his secondary education wasn't that great compared to everybody else, but he became one of the richest persons and a technocrat. And during the early teens, he developed a system that helped America win World War I. Okay, before that, it was hell getting production up to par. They had production problems up till early part of the 20th century, and Henry Ford helped streamline that. Before, if you had parts ordered delays, because I read history, a lot of history, and human reactions to that history and sociology. Okay, a lot of orders by Winchester and all the farms guys had problems. Why? Because their assembly line, again, like Henry Ford, sometimes they're not meeting their quota. So everybody during the teens of the early part, right before World War II, got together and formed a school and training system. Everything hooks together system, so everything would go together. Unfortunately, people don't ever study that part. It's like what Henry Ford was. We're a melting pot. We should be American. You could be African American, Japanese American, you could be Italian American, Mexican American. It doesn't matter. Once you're on the line, you're all Americans. This concept carried on a couple of years in other countries. Some successful, some not successful, like Yugoslavia. That was a disaster. But people didn't know this. But he got it done. Everybody learned English. Everybody learned home economics. Everybody learned hygiene. Sickness dropped. Production went up. America won World War I. During this time, these guys didn't settle, so they were messing with the American school system. Before you had primary, secondary, and if you had the money or you had the knowledge, you go to a trinary college. But they were experimenting. They were the early socialistic kind of mood. Let's improve mankind. Yo. Okay. It did not turn out well. Okay. When Henry Ford went to trial on one of his patent cases, they brought up intelligence level. And Henry Ford failed one of his tests. And they questioned using that doctrine and made Henry Ford look like a boob. Okay? It was funny as hell because he was mad after that. And he went after those guys, the lawyers and everybody. It's a person who with determination and knowledge, no matter how poor it is, will go after somebody who thinks, well, I'll just call him stupid. I'm a lawyer. He didn't like shysters. He had a lot of shysters. Also, he carried a single action 45 a lot. Now, if you watch Empires of Industry, you see a bit of it in what's happening. Unfortunately, what a lot of people don't understand, he didn't like change. And he got caught up by 1926. This is what I tell people. Change occurred from the beginning of the century to 1926. People don't realize what was the big change. That's why we have steampunk, diesel pump, gas pump, digital punk. It's sections of humanity changing with technology and process of thinking. So when I listen to Guns Coast to Coast, or when I listen to Ben's channel or Van Cities, I kind of look at them and think, you're missing the big picture. All right? And I keep telling them, do you know what happens in 2026? We have a technology leap. Last one we had was in 2007. We had a big leap. And before that was, what? When the cell phones got popular, the old clunkers. We have leaps of technology. Usually it's anywhere from 10 years and stuff. We also have periods of dryness, like from 1968 until when we were using early computers, not portable personal Apple computers, until present. Okay, we had leaps, ticks, and bounds. I think it was like 1982 that things started to change rapidly. And then we had a long dry period from 1968 to about end of the decade of the 80s, probably about the mid 90s, because a lot of things changed and a lot of things happened. Okay? I keep telling people you have to understand this. When we go into the next technological leap, that's 2026, it'll be different from the earlier smaller leaps we had. It's like the early part of the 20th century. We're in the 21st century, so we're expecting a big technological and sociological and educational leap in 2026. All right? A lot of people don't study humanity. A lot of people don't study history or sociology. Okay? This is my rant. So when I hear people talk about intelligence and I hear people talk about this and that, I smile and politely agree with them, and I put down comments, and hopefully they get it. And I still wonder why these intelligent people do self-castration with a loaded weapon shoved into their pants. Okay? Can somebody answer me that? So anyway, you have a nice day. I got a couple more videos I got to do to catch up because I've been busy. Oh, and another thing. If you go check out Full Spectrum Survival, Violence at the Grocery Store, and the Buffalo Shooter, and you wonder why I walk elderly and disabled people to the grocery store and walk with them. Now, if that crazy person was with me and I had an elderly African American couple, they'll be on the floor undercover and I'll be hunting this idiot who thinks I'm doing something. Now you're a Manchurian candidate. He's going to get 2 rounds in the nuts and 2 rounds between the eyes. And while I might be half blind, half crazy, and half deaf, but I'm still pretty good with a 9mm and a 45. So I tell a lot of people, what kind of good deed did you do today? I took Sunday off because I need to. But most of the time, I'm very busy. Okay, doing good works and helping people and solving problems and the little tiny dinky things of being a superhero, non-superhero, or just being a good person. Anyway, this is one of my rants. You have a nice day. I'll be seeing you. And again, do something nice around your neighborhood. Bye now.